Hey everyone, welcome to my show, My So-Called Fabulous. Welcome everyone. It is so good to talk to you today, and I'm sitting in here with in the studio with my dear friend Kari Shuler with Kari Does Makeup, and we're laughing our arses off because that's what we do. She makes me laugh, and we're about to make you laugh too, but we are going to talk makeup, so welcome to the show, Kari Shuler.
Yay! Thanks for having me.
Oh my gosh, I finally got you on here. I have been kind of pseudo wanting to ask you to do it, but it's like kind of pseudo. But now I'm in. You've got you here, and she was doing my makeup about a month ago, and I'm like, hey, maybe she'll do it. And I texted her, and she said yes. Thank you so much.
I'm delighted to be here.
So I've been with you a couple of years, but okay, everyone, we have a TCU alum here, and we have an AKO sorority sister. We are at different times. I'm a little bit older than she, and I said earlier I have a little more mileage than she does. Quite a few, to say the least. But we are ACO. I was at Alpha Chi Megas at TCU, and we tell a lot of funny stories about that.
We sure do.
We should. But let's get started with your passion for makeup, because your degree at TCU was?
It was radio, TV, film. Honestly, surprisingly enough, I am of the generation where you went to college.
Yes.
And thankfully, my parents were the type of parents who said, you're going to college, not you're going to college and you're going to study business.
Yeah.
Because that would have been catastrophic for everyone involved. So they, just said, go to college and do what you want. And it took me a minute to figure out what I wanted to do, but I knew I wanted something with like artsy kids.
Mm-hmm.
I knew I wanted to kind of find like-minded people. So I knew that radio, TV, film would be fun. At the very minimum, it would be fun. I didn't know what I would do with it in the future, but fun it was. So I just kind of fell in love with doing makeup for student films. And then I took a stage makeup class at TCU. It wasn't until I noticed that everyone in the class was not having as much fun as I was.
Really?
And yes, they hated it. And they were all theater majors. And so they were like, oh, Kari, you only like this class because you're good at it. And I was like, okay, I mean, yeah. So
wow.
I really just kind of shifted my focus entirely to makeup after I realized just how good it made me feel.
So that's when you fell in love with makeup?
Yes.
When you were in a theater class?
Yeah, at TCU. I had to get a permit to take it. I wasn't even supposed to be there.
What?
They called me Kari from across the street because, the theater building's right across the street from the radio, TV, film building. So
you're kidding.
Yeah.
I mean, you were in Maryland. You grew up in Maryland.
I did.
How did you find TCU?
So my family moved me here my freshman year of high school. I went to high school in Dallas. We lived in McKinney. I went to Catholic school.
Okay. Mm-hmm. There it is. We'll talk about that.
And then I had a brief stint at Baylor, actually.
What?
I lasted one whole semester.
What?
And then I transferred to TCU in fall of 2004.
Yeah.
And I rushed spring of 2004, rushed in fall of 2004 to Alpha Chi Omega. And then that's when I kind of got really into the radio, TV, film sort of thing. But yeah, my family brought me to Texas. I'm not here voluntary. But.
Okay, gotcha. So, it's interesting what you said. Your parents didn't say go to school and get a business degree. And I hear from students, and I've had students on the show that have said, my parents wanted me to get a law degree. Mm-hmm. My parents wanted me to do X, Y, and Z. And you have that creative brain. So that wouldn't work out. And when parents actually figure that out, it's interesting because I have had professors tell me there was a switch in the student when they were allowed to change majors.
Yeah.
I mean, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, putting a square peg in a round,
yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So yes, definitely. So when you fell in love with makeup, so theater makeup versus makeup me.
Right.
Quite different.
A little different.
Do you still do theater makeup?
Yes and no. Every time, honestly, around Halloween, people come out of the woodwork asking, what I want or what can I do for them? And I say, well, do you want to be pretty? I can make you pretty. If you want me to paint you green, it's going to cost more than just looking pretty, you know?
Right.
So I can still do things like a black eye or a slit throat or old age makeup, but I cannot do it as quickly as beauty makeup, since that's been my focus for the last 14 years. So if you want me to do something fancy, I can. It's going to cost you more. It's going to take me a little longer. So
Right.
I prefer beauty makeup just because that's been my kind of wheelhouse.
More than an hour.
Yeah.
So, which you were talking about with Halloween, making someone look older. Makeup can make you look older.
Absolutely.
Please explain that to everyone.
So the best kind of visual I like to sum up, if you have a visual brain, is if you take just a regular piece of white paper and you crumple it up. If you had put crayon over that whole piece of paper, before you crumpled it up, it would just look like crayon. Well, after you crumple it up, you're going to see all of those crumples so much more because of the crayon on there. So if you think of a face with texture, and makeup is quote unquote the crayon, makeup will enhance that texture. It's another layer of something that you're putting on things with texture. So especially any kind of fine lines or delicate area around the eyes, I always like to tell my clients who are frankly just 30 and up, just don't do a lot around your eyes. Don't do a lot of powder. Don't do a lot of cream or heavy things, because that's where we tend to have the most delicate skin, and that can age us the quickest. Really? Is texture around the eyes. Any kind of makeup will enhance that texture. So kind of keep your powders light. Like to warm up concealers and things with your fingers so it kind of melts into the skin a little better. But yeah, if you are a little heavy-handed with makeup, it will age you quickly. It'll betray you.
So that is so interesting, because a shift. I am older. I'm 57. So, and I've taken very good care of my skin.
Yeah.
I always have, always
great
will.
skin.
I mean, I couldn't eat anything, but I'd have, C serum, vitamin C serum for sure.
Priorities.
I was starving, but no, I'm kidding, people. I'm kidding. But around the eye, because I was thinking about you so much today when I was putting my makeup on. Very stressed because she makes me just look incredible. And y'all, I was putting on, okay, so look, this is how it went down. This is how it shook down. So I put on a primer, and then look at y'all, watch us on YouTube. Can you please see? You can see her face. Oh dear. When I put on my primer, I think I have too many layers, because then I put on spackle on my
spackle. Okay,
yeah.
Let's
on my
start there.
nose. And then I put eye base, and then that triangle below.
Okay, well.
And then when I start putting on my foundation, which is light,
Yep.
I start having it's almost like layers.
Yes.
It's almost like an abstract painting.
Yeah.
So
Too much going on.
what am I, but how do I do that enhance my eyes?
Well,
Tiffy,
let's
come
go
on.
back a few steps. My first issue, and this is a hot topic. Skin primer, like primers for your skin, I don't really believe in them.
Okay. Dun, dun, dun,
Yeah,
dun,
right,
dun,
right.
dun.
Frankly, because if you are taking care of your skin, if you're properly prepping it and hydrating it, or doing your serums and all of those things, you really shouldn't need another layer of something with like a silicone or a dimethicone or whatever to make your foundation go on prettier. If your foundation isn't going on pretty when your skin is properly prepped and primed, it's not the foundation for you. You shouldn't need an extra product to make it look better. And that's just kind of this niche that I've seen happen in the last probably decade, where if you go to a Sephora, you go to Ulta, and if you're there looking at foundations, whoever's there is going to try and sell you a primer just because you think they go hand in hand. And they really don't need to. They don't need to. As long as your skin is well taken care of, your foundation should work well. So get rid of your primers.
Okay, so if your skin is not fabulous,
Well,
then there's that.
but you could still be taking care of it as far as using your moisturizers or your proper oil controlling serums. If you're not doing anything, yeah, a primer is going to help your foundation go on better. But if you're getting facials or at least washing and moisturizing your skin, that's better than, let's make this foundation work better with spending 12 or 30 or however much on a primer.
Right. You are so fabulous at airbrushing. And I wouldn't try that myself. Obviously, I'm staying in my lane, but you are so good because when you put makeup on me, the foundation is airbrush,
It is,
right?
yes, ma'am.
And you love that, right?
I do. I took one airbrushing class right after I graduated from TCU. And aside from that stage makeup class, that's really the only formal training that I've ever had.
What? You're kidding.
Because frankly, if you think about it, this was 2004, 5, 6. There wasn't YouTube. I was reading books. I mean, I was learning by doing and by reading books.
Wow.
And so, yeah, I've taken one airbrushing class in 2008. And then I had that stage makeup class when I was at TCU. And ever since then, I've just been learning by doing and learning by reading books. But yeah, airbrushing, it's a game changer because it is something that the consumer could potentially do. It's not hard to do on yourself, honestly. I know a lot of people are like, oh, I could never do that. I mean, it's with that attitude, but it's more the pain of keeping that machine super, super clean. That machine needs to be clean before you use it, immediately after you use it. And whenever I use it on you or any other client, I am custom mixing 2, 3, 4 colors. It's never just one shade because your face isn't one shade. So I love the kind of the really the artistic vein of being able to make it completely your skin tone and not just something that's really close to your skin tone that's from a pre-mixed bottle, you know? And so the artistry of getting it to be exactly what looks like your skin tone is my favorite. But it is something you could do to yourself. I just know I've seen the everyday woman. I've seen what their makeup brushes look like, and I know that the everyday woman is not going to want to clean an airbrush machine when she's not cleaning her regular brushes. So I could, if you want, I could teach you how to airbrush yourself, but I don't think you'd want to do it because I certainly don't do it, and I know how. And it's not hard. It's just a pain.
You don't do it to yourself.
Heck
like
no.
right now.
Oh my gosh, no. I didn't even airbrush myself for my own engagement photos.
Oh dear.
No,
okay.
I was just like, no, absolutely not.
Wow, because it's a lot of work.
It's just for me. It's more of it is work. It is part of my job. It's not something I enjoy when it's cleaning a tool.
Sure.
It's not the artistry part of the actual putting it on and making your skin look great. It's the cleaning it that's no fun. So
okay, let me ask you the $1 million question. How often should we clean our makeup brushes?
So it really depends. If you are not sharing your makeup brushes, which you really should never do, don't share your makeup brushes. But if you're not sharing them and you're just using powder products, so just like a powder on your skin or a powder on your eyes, that type of brush can go quite a bit without being cleaned.
A year?
I'd say over a month would be fine. Okay. Maybe 2 months, just because frankly, dry powder, when it's not wet, just powder in and of itself it's not a place that bacteria wants to hang out. Bacteria wants to go where it's like dark and damp and where there's moisture. And so it's things like your foundation brushes, cream blush brushes, if you use a liquid eyeliner, it's those things that get grosser much more quickly. So those things you should be washing, frankly, I would say at least every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks. Okay.
Your foundation brush especially, because that, if you're not keeping it clean, you're just basically rubbing your own oils around on your face.
And color, right?
Yeah. And it's just, once a brush is so dirty, it's not even going to do the job of a brush. It's just going to be pushing stuff around and not actually blending or buffing or doing the actual job of the brush. So to keep the brush doing what you want it to do, it should be ideally clean.
Right.
Yeah.
So what would be the best type of cleaner for the brush?
So I'm a bit of a purist. I like to deep clean my brushes with a brush cleanser solid.
Okay.
It has coconut milk, coconut oil, and tea tree oil in it. So the tea tree acts as the disinfectant, and that coconut actually cleanses and conditions your brush bristles so you're not completely just drying them out. I know a lot of women will use, I use baby shampoo, I use dish soap. Well, all of those things are fine. They're gonna clean the brushes, but it's also going to really strip all the life out of those brushes. So if you spend a decent amount of money on your brushes, which I recommend doing because frankly, I have a brush from 2004.
Wow.
I remember the day I went into Mac and bought this specific brush, and I still own it.
Expensive
I've
too,
taken
right?
Well, I'm sure at that point in time, it might have been like $18.
Sure.
But now, brushes are, unless you're at like a Walgreens or a Target, you should probably $20 minimum on a brush, on a small brush.
Sure.
Large brushes upwards $40, $50.
Wow.
So take care of them, invest in them, and take care of them. Don't use like a baby shampoo or a dish soap. Use something designed for brush cleaning, but I do prefer a solid over a liquid, just because some people will do like a quick, quote unquote, quick clean, where you just take the liquid and you rub it on a paper towel and then you just kind of swirl that brush around. It's not like washing your hair clean. It's almost like a dry shampoo clean, if that's like that analogy.
Oh, yeah. Y'all, did you hear that? Oh, my God. Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah, so definitely I prefer a brush cleanser solid to really get all the gunk out. If you're using just a liquid and kind of spot cleaning on a paper towel, it's like you're just using dry shampoo, not a deep cleaning kind of sudsy suds.
Right. Y'all, we're going to link some of these products, some of Kari's favorite products on Instagram. So I know people are thinking about that now. So I had, when Kennedy turned 13 or 14, and that to me is the age where young girls and young boys start to wear makeup.
Absolutely.
Okay. So I decided to take her in for a lesson just to show, and we went into Laura Mercier or something.
Yeah.
And they did
My first was Merle Norman.
Really? Oh, exactly. Me too. Me too. Because I'm a small town girl.
Yes.
Living in a lonely world. Hey, y'all, you don't have to pay for this, do you? So I took her into Laura Mercier, and they did a lovely, lovely job. Okay, let's say she's 23 now. So what was that, 10 years ago? Oh, dear. I just looked in our drawer. We still have that compact of eyes. So is it too old? Kind of.
Frankly, the official answer is no.
Really?
But do you need it? Probably not.
Yes.
Because it's powders.
Yes.
If it were something cream, I'd say toss it. If it's something that actually had an odor to it, that's always a good test with makeup. Smell it. Honestly, does it smell kind of icky? Toss it. But I mean, powders, unless you may have seen this. If you tend to have oily skin or oily eyelids or whatever, sometimes you can develop almost like a film, like a hardened kind of film on the top of your pressed powders. That is actually oil.
Yikes.
Which is like kind of baked into that. So if you see that where it's not a smooth powdery texture, where it looks like darker, kind of uneven, toss it. That's oils in your actual makeup. But if it looks like it's just an even colored powder, I mean, hang on to it. I can show you how to do something different with it. I don't know. But yeah, if it's something you love, hang on to it. If it's something that smells, throw it away.
Yeah.
But powders do have a pretty long shelf life, frankly. They do.
Wow. Well, I did open it and had a little nostalgia, a little tear in my eye. But we tossed it. It was a little, I asked her if she wanted it. She's like, and now. My daughter that sees Kari as well, of course.
Yes. Love her.
So let's go to mascara now.
Yeah.
Because you shouldn't be sharing mascara.
Never.
Wow.
And here's a hot tip for the community. If you ever are getting your makeup done and your makeup artist is using mascara from the tube, like the wand that is attached to the lid that goes in the tube, and they do not give you that mascara afterwards, you need to run as far away from them as you can, because that means that they're double dipping and they're using that on everyone. And that's just how you get conjunctivitis. That's how you get a lot of gross things. Oh. And some people wouldn't even know to look for that. But I know very well-known makeup artists in the community who have poor sanitation practices, and it's scary to me, honestly. I'm kind of OCD, crazy clean person, and so that kind of behavior is unacceptable to me. But it does happen a lot, unfortunately. There are people who've been doing this 30-something years, and they think that they're just beyond the rules of basic sanitation, but that can get somebody sick. So no, do not ever share mascara. At the least, you'll get a sty. At the worst, you'll get pink eye. You know, these are not good things.
Yes. Hey, you heard it right here, everyone.
Always want a disposable mascara wand.
So the mascara, you have taught me a method to put on the mascara, so I don't because I use the microcellular water.
The micellar water.
The did I say that? I butchered that. But that water, and I because I get up on the trough, and is it trough or
Well, the tear trough is like where that's a mucous membrane, right?
Yeah. Oh dear, she just went there.
You're welcome.
So, what is how you told me to look a certain way?
Yes. Well, when I am putting mascara on you, I always have you look down, and then I kind of place my thumb on the lid to kind of lift the eye where you can still blink, but it's not smushing that lash line downward. So we're keeping the under eye pretty clean. And then when I do your bottom mascara, I have you look up, and I use a little piece of like an index card or a business card right flush underneath that eye to help prevent mess under the eye. And you can also do that above by pushing the business card right here, and you won't get mess there. Frankly, I don't do either of these things on myself personally. These are just what I do on clients. But if it's a tip that works for you, do it. It helps kind of keep that mess from the skin. Another good tip is when you're putting mascara on, you never want to, women typically have the tendency we open our mouths for some reason when we put mascara on, just like a reflex.
Yes.
But it's best if you tilt your nose up and look at yourself like that and put your mascara on, because when your head is like this, your lashes are further away from your face,
right?
Than when you're like this.
Oh, y'all, are you watching this on YouTube?
See how much of the difference when you drop that chin?
Wow.
So you have much less room, or much more room, for there not to be a mess.
There you go. The margin for error, for sure.
Yes.
Okay, well, that makes sense. So tell me about mascaras that lash curling, volume, tubular. I have a favorite. I jumped very quickly from Maybelline.
Yeah.
Literally in the green, bright green.
The classic.
Yeah, the classic, because that's what I could afford. And then I jumped to the Trish McEvoy, the tubular. I like it because it seems to come off easier. Is that so? Tell us about mascaras. Like, we fall in love with one.
Yes. Mascaras they're very personal.
Yes.
I once had a client who she would bring in her own mascara, and she would use the wand of one in the tube of another.
Oh my stars.
So mascara is very personal to us. It's very personal to us.
Yes.
So first of all, you should not be keeping your mascara for more than 3 months, unfortunately. That's pretty much all it's good for. And if you can keep it longer than that, it's probably going to start, meaning if you haven't run out before that, it'll probably start flaking because it's going to be pretty dry from being open that long. So only 3 months, then get rid of it. But the new kind of most popular thing, it's not that new of a formula. It's been around for a minute, but the tubing mascara, like you mentioned, it's all the rage. I'm sure if you're on Instagram, you've seen the Thrive Cosmetics. They have it's called like Liquid Lash Extensions tubing mascara. And I actually had a client ask me to purchase it for my kit because she loved it so much. She said it's the only thing that doesn't move around on her. Even waterproof mascara would move around on her. So here's the inside scoop on a tubing mascara. What it does, instead of just being a formula that kind of coats the lashes with a liquid that would just dissolve with water, this is actually almost like a tube around each individual lash that does dissolve with water, but it kind of, instead of breaking down into like black watery makeup, it's little tiny mascara balls that you just kind of gently can pull off your lashes, and they just go down the drain, and God knows what happens after that. I hope they're safe for the oceans or whatever. But they are it's nice and long wearing because the tubes don't break down with oil, and most of the time oil removes makeup. And so people who are very oily eyed will usually reach for a waterproof mascara. And I'm saying, hey, try a tubing mascara because it's a lot gentler on your lashes. Not only are we a lot harder on our lashes when we're trying to take waterproof mascara off because it's impossible to take off because it does its job, but waterproof mascara formula in and of itself, it is more drying. It's a harsher formula. So if you wear it every day, it's going to dry out your lashes longer or more quickly than something that's not designed to be waterproof. So you're going to be gentler on your lashes as far as removing using a tubing mascara, but it is going to be gentler on your lashes just as far as the formula being less drying, if that makes sense.
Right.
So that's very popular. And there's a lot of brands who have their own version of a tubing mascara. Kevin Aucoin, who is a makeup trailblazer from back in the 80s. He did, just all the supermodels back in the day. He has a tubing formula, and frankly, he's been dead for a very long time.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
Okay,
tubing's been around a minute, but it's just becoming very popular now with Instagram. I don't know.
Sure.
But a lot of people have heard of that Thrive Cosmetics, and I love it. I use it. I have it in my kit, and it comes off nice and easy. At first, it did kind of weird me out because it's kind of weird to have little pieces of mascara in your hand versus just like dark water when you're washing your face, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I do a mixture, and one of them is the tubular is what she calls it. But then I add another volume.
Oh, you would layer? I love it.
I'm a layer girl.
Yeah.
But it doesn't come off that easily. So it's like it's a fine. And I have very, very sensitive eyes.
Yes.
So I have to be careful of what I put. But the cellular, say it again.
I think it's micellar. It might be micellar. I think it's French.
Okay. Ooh la la. I know, but I do love that. Different ones, of course. Kari is always so fabulous too. I'm like, golly, I love this lip balm, but it's $75, and she just looks at me like I have 10 heads. But and I've tried yours.
I'm sorry.
You should. I know. They sold me quickly, or I saw a video or something. But talk about the price of makeup.
So, I do believe in a grand sweeping statement that you do get what you pay for. However, there are some great drugstore finds. And there are some great, not higher end companies, but I want you to consider, if you're just looking at things that are expensive, a lot of what you're paying for could be packaging. It could be marketing. It's not just, these are, top tier ingredients. It's a lot of, the name, how they're getting it out there. How much is the jar it's in? The beautiful jar.
Right.
I worked for MAC for several years, and the way that they were able to keep their prices low for a good point in time is that their packaging was always very standard. They didn't spend a lot of money on marketing, and that was something that they really prided themselves on. Now, where they are now, I can't speak to that. But if it really is, quality skincare ingredients doesn't need to be $300. Should it be $5? Maybe not.
Right.
But there are some really great things in the middle that have good quality ingredients that aren't going to break the bank and that will be worth what you're spending.
Right.
So, in my kit, I try not to have a lot of quote unquote drugstore things just because I am a professional and I want to have things that you do not have access to, frankly. One, because they work better. Two, because you're coming to see me for a reason.
Exactly.
But I have a Maybelline Voluminous mascara in my kit. I love that cheap old mascara. I don't think it's more than $12, and that's in my kit. What else?
Maybelline does a lip stain too that's just
okay.
It will never come off.
So I hope you like it, 'cause it's gonna be there.
I hope it's the right color. I'm telling you.
I've got like some cheapy lip liners too, like some NYX NYX, that brand. I've got some cheapies of those.
Okay.
So I kind of like to dabble. I think having a nice balance of some high end things and some, not lower end things, that's terrible, but affordably priced. I hate that word, affordably priced.
Right.
Fairly priced. I don't know. You don't always have to break the bank on everything, but there are sometimes when higher quality ingredients will perform better. And just because
they've put more time and energy in it,
research into the ingredients and things like that.
Yeah, I'll get a new something and have paid a little bit for it, and I'm like, if you just put it in a crappy box, I've been much happier.
Oh my gosh, it's the packaging when there's like this gold gilded lid, and you're like, okay, well, we could knock $100 off this.
I know. So, Kari, you have a studio.
I sure do.
In Fort Worth, lovely studio,
yes,
and the lights are fabulous, of course. But do you Do you mind going to people's homes? I mean, you do both.
I do. I can and I will. Just because that's the nature of the beast. I have a studio that I love, and I pay very good money to be there.
Yes.
But I will of course leave the studio, especially to accommodate large groups. I'll be at your house next week for weddings.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, and so yeah, large groups, weddings, absolutely. I'm definitely down to travel for that. When it's one person, it will cost you a little bit more, but I do that pretty regularly. Actually, quite a bit of some of like the weekday work that I do would be like newborn or maternity shoots.
Wow.
And sometimes these women with brand new babies or who are very pregnant, they don't want to kind of schlep around in the car.
Yeah.
And so I will go to them, and it costs more than coming to see me in studio, but it's that convenience of you not having to worry about leaving your house, you know? Right. So as long as it's worth my time and then I can make that time work in whatever time space you have for me, I am happy to travel to you.
Right.
Absolutely.
That's great. You've been to both my home, to the studio, and I've been to your studio. And I mean, they're all fabulous, of course, because we've done different things. She actually was on our podcast promo video a couple of years ago. Yeah. And then there's so many things together, of course, and just adore you. You made me look so fabulous. Always so
easy canvas. You're the best canvas.
You're sweet.
Make my
You're
job
sweet.
Easy.
Y'all, you have to go and follow Kari, because she, Kari Does Makeup is her website as well as her Instagram. But on your Instagram, I love it. No pressure here, sister, but Tuesday tips are phenomenal. Just for example, I'm talking to you today. Just threw out probably 8 bottles of sunscreen that was slightly expired. And your tip says what?
I had a tip this past summer that was the active ingredient zinc oxide does not expire. So even if your sunscreen says it's expired, it may not be. Now, we're rolling the dice here, with sunscreen in Texas. But sunscreen's expensive. So if if it's just a month or 2 or 3, and you know that zinc oxide is the active ingredient, which is different from like a chemical sunscreen. Chemical sunscreens are a whole different kind of makeup, if you will. There was a pun in there. But physical sunscreen, zinc oxide is actually physical sunscreen. So that active ingredient never expires. So if that's what's in your sunscreen, you can go a little longer without tossing that bottle away. So it's good to know, especially in Texas when we need to wear sunscreen more often than not.
Okay, so tell me, is sunscreen in your makeup enough?
Ma'am? Well, I'm going to break your heart because the answer's no.
I knew that.
I had a Tuesday tip. You'd have to scroll back a couple years, but it was something to the effect of, and I did multiple cross-referencing on the internet for this. Said something like you'd have to put 17 layers of SPF powder on to equal just sunscreen in the bottle. So yes, sunscreen, makeup that has sunscreen, it's not going to not hurt you, but you do need additional sunscreen always. It's not enough. And frankly, most people don't know that you should be reapplying sunscreen every 2 hours.
Lord have mercy.
Just because you put on an SPF in the morning, maybe you should throw that SPF powder in your bag, and that's your touch-up. That's your sunscreen throughout the day, because we're just cooking in Texas.
We are cooking, y'all. We are cooking. It's actually freezing here today with a nice...
I'm lovely.
What is it, 68 degrees, and I'm freezing my ass off. If you go into Kari's studio, you will be in a refrigerator. She loves it cold, cold.
Bring your own blanket. BYOB.
Another Tuesday tip, and I could talk to you. Oh my gosh, we have so much to talk about. But another Tuesday tip is, for sure, wash twice your face at night.
Yes, I know. I have all these tips that nobody wants to hear because it's stuff that we're not doing.
But we need to hear it.
Yes, it is best to actually wash your face twice. You're going to get the best results from your skincare that I'm sure you're spending a decent amount of money on by washing your face twice. And what I mean by this is, think about, this is the best analogy for like a dry shampoo girl, very similar to what I said about the brushes.
Yes.
If you wash your hair once, it's basically just getting out styling products and dry shampoo. It's not actually cleaning and treating your hair.
Wow.
It's just getting the crap out, you know? So your first cleanse on your face is just getting your makeup off. It's not actually treating and cleansing the face. So do you have to technically wash your face twice? No, but I would love for you to maybe take a wipe or some micellar water or something to remove your makeup first, and then actually cleanse your skin. And that's when your skin will actually be treated and accepting those skincare ingredients in that face wash than just that face wash taking off the makeup. Does that make sense?
Oh my gosh, you are giving us so much. You're all welcome, okay? I'm just saying.
I know nobody wants to wash their face twice. We just want to get in bed. I know. But your skincare will work better. It can penetrate the skin more deeply if all that makeup is gone and you're just washing a clean face.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, this is your Tuesday tips. They are phenomenal. I just kept scrolling and getting more content for sure. And I appreciate you doing it because that's extra. You're an artist. The last thing you want to do is social media.
I don't have the kind of brain that loves to post. I do it because it's free advertising. Gosh, I'd be stupid to not, but I don't have the kind of brain that loves Instagram.
Right.
I recently said to a friend of mine, because it's busy season right now for me, I said, if you don't see me on Instagram for a couple days, I'm just trying to manage my anxiety just by staying away from my phone.
I know.
And I'm sure I should be. I have all this content in busy season where I could just be posting, and I'm like, no, I'd really rather just have some peace.
I know you would. Well, it has been, of course, I told y'all we're going to laugh.
Yes.
But we've learned so much from you. Good. And I'm not even finished. I'm going to get you to come back because we're going to talk about Catholic guilt.
Oh my gosh, I have all the Catholic. If you have any religious trauma, come sit next to me. I have it all.
We heard it all. We're going to do that show. For sure, everyone.
I know that song.
I know, exactly. So thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
And I'll see you next week for sure. Y'all, you've got to watch this on YouTube. I mean, she's beautiful, she's fabulous, and what a jewel she is. So everyone follow along, Kari Does Makeup, and follow along with me, Tiffany Blackmon, on all my platforms. And y'all have a great day and keep being fabulous.